The chaos of battlefield medicine is legendary, but nowhere was it more intense than during World War II, where medics braved relentless artillery, machine gun fire, and the devastation of blitzkrieg assaults to reach the wounded. In World War II, a vast industrialized system emerged, designed to save lives on a scale never seen before, as entire armies clashed across Europe, North Africa, and the Pacific. Behind the heroics of Normandy, Stalingrad, and Iwo Jima was a logistical miracle: careful planning, scientific breakthroughs, and a chain of care that stretched from the front lines through aid stations and field hospitals all the way to rear-area general hospitals. Every minute counted as battles raged. The wounded were moved step by step through increasingly advanced care, mirroring the assembly lines of wartime industry, a production line for survival forged in the crucible of global conflict. This required training hundreds of thousands of medics, many of them young and inexperienced, to handle the unique horrors of World War II, shrapnel wounds, burns from incendiary bombs, and the effects of chemical weapons. It meant mass-producing treatments like plasma and penicillin, both of which became widely available for the first time during World War II, revolutionizing infection control and trauma care. Mobile hospitals, MASH units, and tented surgical teams were created to follow the armies from the beaches of Normandy to the jungles of Burma, bringing advanced care closer to the front than ever before. It was a calculated, humane response to the unprecedented scale and brutality of World War II injuries, mass casualties from bombing raids, tank battles, and amphibious assaults. The goal? Bring order to chaos and give every wounded man, from the beaches of Anzio to the forests of the Ardennes, a fighting chance. The real story of World War II field medicine is not just about dramatic rescues under fire, but about the planners, logisticians, and medical teams who built a system to cope with the relentless demands of total war. They transformed battlefield medicine from a desperate gamble into a science of hope, adapting to the unique challenges of each theatre, from the freezing Russian front to the sweltering Pacific Islands. Even amid the machinery of war, the drive to preserve life was just as powerful and just as organised, as seen in the supply lines stretching from London to the front at El Alamein. This quiet revolution in World War II medicine changed the fate of millions, soldiers and civilians alike. The impact of this system would echo for generations, shaping post-war medicine and emergency care worldwide. The true miracle of World War II field medicine was not just survival, but the creation of a new global standard for saving lives, born from the unique challenges and innovations of the Second World War. For a wounded soldier, survival began with the medic on the front line, armed with little more than a kit and courage. Their job? Stop bleeding, ease pain, and stabilize the wounded for evacuation. Stretcher-bearers risked their lives to move casualties to Battalion Aid Stations, just behind the fighting. Here, doctors triaged and made critical decisions about further care. The journey continued, by jeep, ambulance, or on foot, through collecting and clearing stations, each step a race against time. Delays could mean death. Rapid evacuation was as vital as any treatment. Finally, the most serious cases reached field or evacuation hospitals, where surgeons and nurses performed complex operations. This entire process was the chain of evacuation, a carefully choreographed relay from battlefield to safety. Every link in the chain mattered. The system turned chaos into coordinated care. It was a race against death, stretching from the heart of battle to the rear. The chain of evacuation was the backbone of survival. It gave hope where there had once been none. Before 1939, shock from blood loss was a silent killer. Whole blood was hard to store and deliver near the front. The answer: dried blood plasma, a lightweight powder that could be mixed with water and given anywhere. This innovation let medics stabilize the wounded on the spot, buying precious time. Plasma didn't replace red blood cells, but it restored blood volume and prevented deadly shock. It bridged the gap until surgery could be performed. Survival rates soared thanks to plasma, and millions at home donated blood to make it possible. Plasma was a direct link between the home front and the battlefield. Unlike complex surgery, it was a miracle medics could carry in their packs. It put life-saving power in the hands of those closest to danger. Plasma changed the odds for the wounded and changed the war. The Allies brought surgery to the front lines with mobile surgical units. These small, skilled teams set up operating rooms in tents or barns just miles from combat. Critically wounded soldiers could reach a surgeon in under an hour, not after a perilous journey. Surgeons stopped bleeding, repaired organs, and removed shrapnel before infection set in. This forward placement was a game-changer. Thousands survived who once would not. Mobile teams worked tirelessly, adapting to the chaos of war. The philosophy shifted: bring advanced care to the wounded, not the other way around. This innovation set the standard for future military medicine. Infection was once the deadliest threat to wounded soldiers. World War II changed that with sulfur drugs, the first effective antibacterials issued to every Allied soldier. Medics used sulfur to prevent infection from the moment a wound occurred. Then came penicillin, mass-produced under wartime pressure, a true miracle drug that killed bacteria outright. By 1944, penicillin was saving countless lives, making complex surgeries safer and reducing amputations. Surgeons could now treat wounds with confidence, using new techniques like delayed closure. The fear of gangrene faded, and survival rates soared. Rapid evacuation, plasma, forward surgery and antibiotics formed a system of care never seen before. The war's medical breakthroughs redefined what was possible. Soldiers now had a real chance at life after injury. In Europe, the Allied medical system worked efficiently. Roads, railways and airstrips allowed rapid evacuation from battlefield to hospital. A wounded soldier could reach advanced care in hours. The main challenges were combat injuries, and the system was built to handle them. In the Pacific, the environment was the enemy jungles, mountains and swamps made evacuation agonizingly slow. Stretcher teams hacked through dense terrain for days, not hours. Tropical diseases like malaria and dysentery plagued the wounded and their caregivers. Simple wounds could become deadly infections in the heat and humidity. Medical teams had to master both trauma and tropical medicine. The Pacific War was a two-front battle against enemy weapons and the hostile environment. Survival depended on ingenuity and endurance. The contrast between theatres shaped the evolution of military medicine. The innovations of World War II laid the foundation for modern trauma care. The chain of survival, rapid layered response remains the gold standard today. Medical evacuation evolved from jeeps to helicopters, now a staple in civilian emergencies. Antibiotics and IV fluids, pioneered in the war, are now routine in emergency medicine. Specialized trauma teams mirror the mobile surgical units of the past. Our emergency rooms are direct descendants of wartime advances. Every helicopter landing, every paramedic's IV, echoes lessons learned in World War II. The tragedy of war drove medical progress that saves lives to this day. From chaos, a system of hope and healing emerged. The quiet revolution of wartime medicine continues to touch us all.